In the land of K-pop perfection, standing with LGBTQ+ people is still a quiet rebellion. But these stars? They made noise. They told queer stories, embraced queer fans, and held space for love the industry still avoids. They didn't have to, but they did. And that's why they matter. So don't blink, don't scroll, because the story we're about to tell might just change the way you see them. Forever. It all begins right now. The unexpected ally K-pop didn't see coming. In an industry where every word is carefully filtered and every gesture can spark a media storm, Eun-woo from Astro has emerged as an unexpected yet powerful LGBTQ+ ally. His journey toward visible support didn't come from bold speeches or staged campaigns. It came from small, authentic moments that spoke volumes. One of the most talked about instances happened in January 2021 during a casual V-Live with fellow member Moonbin. When a fan commented, "Oppa, congratulate me. I finally became a couple." Moonbin cheerfully replied, "I don't know if the person is a girl or a boy, but please turn them into an aroha." Eun-woo, sitting right next to him, smiled warmly and nodded in agreement. This brief but genuine reaction quickly spread across Reddit and Korean fan forums, especially among LGBTQ+ fans searching for signs of acceptance. But Eun-woo's allyship didn't stop there. Throughout 2020 and 2021, during Astro's fan sign events and online Q&A sessions, he became known for giving gender-neutral and inclusive answers. Whenever fans talked about their partners, Eun-woo never assumed their gender. Screenshots of these moments started circulating online, with fans praising his subtle yet impactful stance. In a country where LGBTQ+ representation remains limited, this kind of everyday inclusivity feels revolutionary. Eun-woo consistently treated all fans with equal warmth, showing that respect for love comes in all forms. His acting career also reflects this mindset. In True Beauty, while portraying the popular male lead, Eun-woo infused his character with emotional vulnerability and softness rarely seen in traditional K-drama heartthrobs. LGBTQ+ fans especially resonated with how he challenged typical masculinity on screen. In a 2021 interview with Esquire Korea, Eun-woo spoke about love in broad emotional terms, focusing on understanding and empathy rather than traditional gender roles. These subtle comments only strengthened his image as an open-minded and compassionate figure. Today, Eun-woo continues to be a symbol of quiet yet meaningful allyship. He may not post rainbow-colored statements or attend pride parades, but in a society where LGBTQ+ support from celebrities is rare, his consistent warmth, inclusive language, and unfiltered reactions matter. For LGBTQ+ arohas worldwide, Eun-woo isn't just another K-pop idol. He's someone who shows that support doesn't always need to shout. Sometimes a simple nod and a genuine smile are powerful enough to change someone's day, and maybe even their life. RM, a harmonious advocate for LGBTQ+ rights. In the ever-evolving landscape of K-pop, few figures have used their platform as thoughtfully as RM, leader of BTS. From the early days of his career, RM has shown a consistent commitment to inclusivity and equality. Even before BTS officially debuted, RM made his mark by co-writing the song Party XXO for the girl group Glam in 2012, a track widely recognized as one of K-pop's first mainstream anthems, celebrating same-sex love. This wasn't just a creative choice. It was a bold statement in a music industry where LGBTQ+ themes were often sidelined or ignored. RM's lyrical contribution set an early tone for his ongoing advocacy for marginalized voices. Over the years, RM's allyship grew in both subtle and significant ways. Fans noticed his curated reading and viewing lists often included LGBTQ+ stories. He publicly recommended the film Blue is the Warmest Color, a French movie exploring a lesbian romance, and Troye Sivan's emotionally charged track Strawberries and Cigarettes, which featured prominently in the LGBTQ+ coming-of-age film Love, Simon. Through these recommendations, RM quietly introduced millions of armies around the world to LGBTQ+ narratives. His choices sparked global discussions on fan forums about identity, acceptance, and representation, proving that even a simple song suggestion could become a catalyst for broader awareness. One of RM's most defining moments as an LGBTQ+ ally came during his 2018 speech at the United Nations General Assembly. Standing before world leaders and millions watching online, he said, "No matter who you are, where you're from, your skin color, gender identity, speak yourself." This wasn't just a motivational slogan. It was a direct acknowledgement of diverse identities, including LGBTQ+ individuals who rarely hear global figures affirm their existence. The speech became a viral moment across international LGBTQ+ communities, shared on platforms like Twitter and Tumblr as an emblem of hope and validation from one of the world's most influential pop voices. Beyond words, RM's personal style and artistic choices continue to push against rigid gender norms. From wearing gender-neutral fashion on red carpets to embracing fluidity in photo shoots, he challenges traditional masculinity in Korea's entertainment scene. For LGBTQ+ fans worldwide, RM represents more than just a K-pop idol. He is a compassionate ally whose visibility and voice have helped normalize conversations about queer identity in mainstream Asian media. Jungkook, redefining masculinity and quietly supporting LGBTQ+ visibility. In the global phenomenon that is BTS, Jungkook has carved out a unique space, not just as the group's golden maknae, but as a soft yet strong cultural force, redefining what masculinity and acceptance mean in the 21st century. Unlike grand speeches or overt political statements, Jungkook's LGBT+ allyship lives in the details, the fashion choices, the song covers, the personal interactions that ripple far beyond the stage lights. In a country where gender roles remain rigid and LGBTQ+ topics often stir controversy, every small move matters. And Jungkook knows exactly how to make it count. One of his most talked about gestures came in 2020 when he covered Fools by Troye Sivan, an openly gay artist whose music speaks to queer heartbreak and longing. Jungkook didn't just sing the song, he sang it with emotional vulnerability, giving LGBTQ+ fans a rare and intimate moment of representation within K-pop. Later, fans noticed Jungkook regularly wearing apparel from Ajobiajo, a Korean fashion brand known for publicly supporting LGBTQ+ rights. Whether intentional or instinctive, these style choices became symbols, subtle but deeply appreciated by queer armies around the world. Jungkook's approach to allyship also shows through his consistent use of gender-neutral language. In various fan interactions, he has been careful not to assume the gender identity of the person he's addressing, often choosing phrases like "someone special" or "the person you love." In 2021, during a live stream, he recommended the LGBTQ+ themed film Call Me By Your Name, a bold choice considering the subject matter and its relevance to the LGBTQ+ community. These moments may seem fleeting, but for fans struggling with acceptance, they are lifelines of validation. What makes Jungkook's allyship so impactful is its authenticity. He doesn't preach. He doesn't perform activism for headlines. Instead, he leads by example, through kindness, inclusivity, and showing that love exists in many forms. For a generation growing up under BTS's influence, that message could change lives. But here's the real question. Do you see Jungkook as the quiet LGBTQ+ ally we believe him to be? Or does his story mean something else to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're ready to hear what you think. Suga, the quiet force behind LGBTQ+ acceptance in K-pop. When it comes to social issues, Suga has never been the type to follow trends or stay silent when something matters. While other idols carefully dodge controversial topics, Suga leans into honesty with the same raw vulnerability he brings to his lyrics. In a 2018 interview with Billboard Japan, he was asked about same-sex marriage, a question many Korean artists might have sidestepped. Without hesitation, Suga answered, "There is nothing wrong. We are all equal." In a country where LGBTQ+ conversations often remain hidden or coded, that single sentence felt like a breakthrough. Fans worldwide shared the clip across Twitter and fan forums, calling it one of the boldest moments in BTS's history of allyship. Suga's commitment didn't end with interviews. In 2020, eagle-eyed fans noticed him wearing rainbow-striped Vans sneakers, an unmistakable symbol of LGBTQ+ pride. While some might dismiss it as just another fashion choice, armies who know Suga's history of intentional messaging understood the deeper meaning. This wasn't a random style decision. It was a wearable nod to diversity and inclusion. Add to that his collaborations with openly bisexual artist Halsey, and a pattern emerges. Suga consistently uses his visibility to normalize LGBTQ+ representation in places it rarely exists. That same mindset carried into the creation of BTS's BT21 characters. During the design process, Suga made it clear that he wanted them to be gender neutral. His exact words, "I actually want all of them to be gender neutral. I don't want them to be classified into two gender groups." In a space where even cartoon mascots often get boxed into gender stereotypes, Suga's insistence on neutrality felt like a small but meaningful step toward normalizing non-binary identities in mainstream Korean pop culture. And then there's masculinity, another norm Suga isn't afraid to challenge. In a 2020 Esquire interview, he openly questioned why men are expected to act a certain way, advocating for emotional openness and vulnerability as strengths, not weaknesses. Through his music, his fashion, and his public reflections on identity and gender, Suga continues to carve space for those who often feel unseen. Mingyu, quiet courage, loud impact. When you think of Mingyu from 17, certain images instantly come to mind. That towering height, effortless charm, the kind of smile that feels like bottled sunshine. On stage, he radiates charisma. But for many fans, especially LGBTQ+ carrots, it's his heart that leaves the deepest mark. Quiet, thoughtful, and consistently supportive, Mingyu has become an unexpected ally in a space where neutrality often feels safer. While many idols steer clear of social topics, Mingyu chose a softer but braver path. Back in 2020, he introduced Bong Bong, a plush toy he personally designed. When asked about its identity, his answer was simple yet powerful. "I wanted Bong Bong to be something everyone could love, no matter who they are." For LGBTQ+ fans living in a world where identity can still feel like a fight, that moment felt like more than just fan service. It felt like healing. His gestures didn't stop there. Over time, fans noticed rainbow accents on his shirts, pride-themed accessories, and collaborations with LGBTQ+ friendly brands. These choices weren't flashy or performative. They were quiet signals, visible enough for those who needed them most. Every appearance wearing those colors felt like a gentle reminder, you matter. Perhaps most impactful is how Mingyu interacts with fans. During live streams, meet and greets, and fan calls, he uses gender-neutral language when talking about love or relationships. He listens without assumptions, responds with kindness. For fans still navigating their own identities, that kind of acceptance means everything. Mingyu's allyship isn't about trends or headlines. It's steady. It's intentional. It's real. And if stories like his matter to you, if you want to see more artists embracing inclusivity, help us keep this conversation alive. Like the video, leave a comment, and hit subscribe. Every action helps us shine a brighter light on LGBTQ+ visibility in Asia and beyond. When fashion becomes a statement for LGBTQ+ visibility. To most K-drama fans, Nam Joo-hyuk is the definition of a leading man. From the sweet athlete in weightlifting fairy Kim Bok-joo to the brooding romantic in Startup, he's built a career on charm, depth, and undeniable screen presence. But off-camera, Nam Joo-hyuk has quietly carved out another kind of role, an unexpected but meaningful LGBTQ+ ally in Korea's conservative entertainment landscape. In 2019, he became the face of Beyond Closet, a South Korean fashion brand known for celebrating LGBTQ+ inclusivity. The brand's Pride collection wasn't subtle. Rainbow accents, heart designs, and slogans about love and freedom. Nam Joo-hyuk didn't just model these looks. He embraced them. Photos of him confidently wearing pastel sweaters and pride-themed shirts quickly spread online. In a country where LGBTQ+ visibility in mainstream media remains rare, these images felt powerful. But it wasn't just a one-time campaign. Nam Joo-hyuk continued working with Beyond Closet, participating in more shoots and giving interviews that praised the brand's creativity and its bold message. Fans and media alike noticed how comfortably he leaned into the concept. For LGBTQ+ followers, his ongoing involvement felt like a quiet but consistent form of support, a way of saying, "You're seen, you matter." Beyond fashion, Joo-hyuk's acting choices also reflect allyship in subtle ways. He gravitates toward roles that explore emotional vulnerability and break typical male stereotypes. His characters often challenge ideas of traditional masculinity, showing sensitivity and depth rarely portrayed in Korean dramas. While Nam Joo-hyuk has never made grand speeches about LGBTQ+ rights, his steady actions, on set and in style, have spoken volumes to looking for representation and acceptance. And now, as we leave the world of K-dramas behind for a moment, let's head back to K-pop, where KB from OnlyOneOf has been making his own bold statements as an LGBTQ+ ally. Art that speaks when words can't. Known for his rich vocals and understated charisma, KB didn't just hint at LGBTQ+ inclusion, he made it part of his identity as an artist. In 2021, with the release of Libido, OnlyOneOf shattered expectations. The music video featured raw, emotionally charged moments between male members, with KB right at the center. The imagery was intimate, bold, and for many LGBTQ+ fans, long overdue. But KB's journey didn't stop there. In 2022, he deepened the conversation with his solo release, Be Free. This wasn't just another love song with ambiguous visuals. It was a vulnerable, tender portrayal of same-sex love, expressed through glances, soft touches, and storytelling that left nothing to guesswork. For queer fans, especially those growing up in environments where their love was invisible, seeing someone like KB tell their story felt like a long-awaited moment of recognition. What makes KB's allyship so powerful is its consistency and honesty. In interviews, he's spoken about wanting his music to reach everyone, no matter their gender or identity. There's no rehearsed PR language, no performative sound bites, just a steady, sincere commitment to making art that reflects real human experiences. For fans who've spent years clinging to coded moments or background symbolism, KB's directness feels like oxygen. And yet, even in 2025, projects like his still stir controversy. The simple act of portraying same-sex love remains a trigger for some viewers. It makes you pause and wonder, why, in 2025, is same-sex love still considered shameful by some? Love is love. Identity is natural. We weren't born to fit into stereotypes. We were born to feel, to connect, to be seen. And through every lyric and visual choice, KB continues to remind us of that truth. Living loud, loving without labels. If there's one artist in K-pop who's never been afraid to blur the lines, it's Kwon from 2AM. For over a decade, he's embraced femininity, camp, and emotional vulnerability with a confidence rarely seen among male idols. Long before conversations about LGBTQ+ visibility gained momentum in Korea, Kwon was already redefining what masculinity could look like, on stage and off. One of Kwon's most talked about moments came in 2018, when he starred in the Korean production of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. The role wasn't just physically demanding, it was emotionally raw, exploring themes of gender identity and queer love. While other celebrities might have hesitated to take on such a controversial character, Kwon poured his heart into the performance. He later shared in interviews that playing Hedwig gave him a deeper understanding of the LGBTQ+ community, and that it was a role he felt destined to play. But his allyship didn't end at the theater door. Kwon has used his personal social media to speak out in support of LGBTQ+ rights, challenging toxic masculinity and standing up for self-expression. He's posted photos in high heels and makeup, not for shock value, but because it felt authentic. He's spoken openly about rejecting gender stereotypes, telling fans that they should live as their true selves without apology. For many LGBTQ+ Koreans navigating a culture that still pushes conformity, Kwon's visibility felt revolutionary. What makes his support even more powerful is how unapologetic it's always been. Kwon doesn't tiptoe around topics of gender or sexuality. He embraces fluidity in his fashion, his performances, and his words. When asked about labels, he said he doesn't feel the need to define himself. and that everyone deserves to love and express themselves freely. In a K-pop world still hesitant about LGBTQ+ topics, Kwon stands out as a rare example of fearless authenticity. For fans who've long waited for idols to speak and act with this level of openness, Kwon remains a symbol of what it looks like to live loud and proud. Redefining gender norms, one stage at a time. When it comes to breaking gender expectations in K-pop, Jun from A.C.E is a name that keeps coming up. With his sharp features, powerful stage presence, and fearless approach to fashion, Jun has become a quiet but visible LGBTQ+ ally in South Korea's evolving music scene. He's never needed grand speeches or viral hashtags. His advocacy speaks through his art, his styling choices, and the way he interacts with fans. One of Jun's most memorable moments came with the release of Fav Boys in 2021, a collaboration between A.C.E and American EDM group Steve Aoki. In the music video, Jun appeared wearing a flowing black skirt, an intentional and symbolic fashion choice in an industry where male idols rarely break away from traditional gender norms. Fans around the world praised the look, celebrating it as a bold statement of self-expression and LGBTQ+ inclusivity. For many queer fans, seeing a male idol embrace such styling without hesitation felt like a breath of fresh air. But Jun's support didn't stop at visuals. In interviews, he's spoken about wanting A.C.E's music and image to represent freedom. Freedom of identity, freedom of expression, and freedom to love without fear. He's consistently encouraged fans to embrace who they are, no matter where they fall on the gender or sexuality spectrum. At fan meetings and live streams, Jun has gone out of his way to use inclusive language, making sure all fans, especially those in the LGBTQ+ community, feel seen and valued. What makes Jun's allyship stand out is how naturally it fits into his artistry. Whether he's performing in gender-fluid fashion, dancing with emotional vulnerability, or standing up for self-expression, his message remains clear. No one should feel ashamed of who they are. In a K-pop landscape still hesitant to fully embrace LGBTQ+ narratives, Jun's quiet but consistent support feels like a step in the right direction. For countless fans searching for representation, Jun has become more than just an idol. He's become a symbol of freedom and acceptance. Jang Eui-soo, breaking stereotypes, one role at a time. For many K-drama fans, Jang Eui-soo was just another rising actor until 2020, when he took on a role that would change both his career and his impact on the LGBTQ+ community. As the lead in Korea's first mainstream BL drama, Where Your Eyes Linger, Jang Eui-soo became one of the first South Korean actors to portray same-sex love in a way that felt raw, authentic, and unapologetic. Taking on the role of Jungkook, a bodyguard secretly in love with his best friend, wasn't a decision Jang made lightly. In interviews, he admitted he understood the cultural sensitivity around LGBTQ+ topics in Korea, but felt the story was too important to ignore. He wanted to show that love, regardless of gender, deserved to be seen with honesty and depth. For many LGBTQ+ viewers in Korea, where queer narratives remain rare, Jang's performance felt groundbreaking. What made his allyship even clearer was how he handled the aftermath. Instead of distancing himself from the LGBTQ+ themes once filming ended, Jang Eui-soo leaned into the conversation. He spoke openly about how the role changed his perspective on love and identity. In multiple interviews, he said he hoped the series would offer comfort and validation to LGBTQ+ viewers who rarely see themselves reflected on screen. For many fans, those words mattered just as much as the performance itself. Jang's ongoing support didn't stop there. Even years after the show aired, he continues to engage positively with fans from the LGBTQ+ community. He's expressed gratitude for their support, reposted fan art featuring same-sex couples, and reinforced his belief that all kinds of love deserve a spotlight. In an industry still hesitant to fully embrace LGBTQ+ stories, Jang Eui-soo's choice to step forward, both on screen and in real life, makes him more than just an actor. He's become an unexpected but deeply appreciated ally. And if voices like his inspire you, if you believe more stories like this deserve to be told, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Together we can help keep these conversations alive and make space for every kind of love. A new generation of allies. Before 2020, Han Gi-chan was mostly seen as a fresh-faced idol-turned-actor, quietly taking small roles and finding his footing in Korea's ultra-competitive entertainment world. His smile was charming, his personality endearing, but nothing suggested that he was about to step into one of the most socially sensitive roles in recent K-drama history. That all changed when he accepted the lead role in Where Your Eyes Linger, Korea's first mainstream BL drama. At just 22, with no assurance of how fans, critics, or even fellow industry insiders would react, Han Gi-chan chose courage over caution. Taking on the character of Han Tae-ju wasn't just another acting gig. It meant portraying same-sex love with honesty and depth, showing all the messy, tender, and emotionally charged moments that come with falling for your best friend. In a country where LGBTQ+ themes are often brushed aside or treated as comedy, this was a bold, career-defining move. When asked why he agreed to take the role, Han Gi-chan's answer was refreshingly sincere. Love has many forms, and I wanted to help tell this story. For queer fans living in a culture where even basic representation feels rare, those words meant more than he could have imagined. The public reaction? A complicated mix of praise, curiosity, and predictable controversy. While international audiences embraced the series almost instantly, some Korean viewers expressed discomfort. But through it all, Gi-chan never backtracked. Instead, he stood by the project and its message. In interviews, he thanked LGBTQ+ fans for their support and spoke candidly about how the role had shifted his own perspective on love, empathy, and identity. Even when faced with loaded or uncomfortable media questions, he responded with maturity, acknowledging that stories like this need to be told, again and again. Years later, Han Gi-chan continues to engage with LGBTQ+ fans online and offline. He reposts fan art, expresses gratitude for queer viewers, and refuses to erase or downplay his involvement in the project that changed so many lives. In an industry where silence still feels like the default, Han Gi-chan's quiet but consistent allyship stands out. He didn't just play a role. He helped start a conversation and kept showing up long after the camera stopped rolling. And it leaves us asking, in a world still divided over who gets to be seen and loved, isn't this the kind of allyship we need more of? Park Seo-joon, redefining masculinity in the spotlight. As we reach the final name on this list, it feels only right to end with Park Seo-joon, a leading man who has quietly but consistently used his platform to challenge outdated ideas about gender and love. Known for hits like Itaewon Class and What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, Park Seo-joon isn't just another K-drama heartthrob. Behind the charming smile and blockbuster roles, there's an artist who understands the power of representation and chooses to stand with communities that often go unseen. In 2020, when Itaewon Class introduced one of Korea's first transgender characters, Park Seo-joon didn't shy away from the conversation. He embraced it, on screen and off. In interviews, he voiced pride in being part of a show that pushed social boundaries. He spoke with sincerity about the importance of empathy and understanding for all people, regardless of gender identity. For LGBTQ+ fans who rarely see themselves reflected in primetime Korean dramas, Park Seo-joon's words felt like validation, like hope. But what sets him apart isn't just one role. Throughout his career, Park Seo-joon has chosen characters that break the mold, men who show vulnerability, compassion, and emotional depth. Even off-camera, his fashion choices, interviews, and public appearances reflect an ongoing support for freedom of identity and self-expression. Fans have noticed, and they've never forgotten. And yet, as we sit here in 2025, watching stars like Park Seo-joon take these brave steps, one question lingers. Why, even now, is same-sex love still seen as something shameful by some? Love is love. Identity is natural. We weren't born to fit into stereotypes. We were born to feel, to connect, to be seen. And as long as artists like Park Seo-joon keep choosing authenticity over silence, maybe, just maybe, the industry and the world will keep moving towards something better. What makes Park Seo-joon's support so powerful is its sincerity. He doesn't need grand gestures or viral soundbites. His actions, his words carry a steady, unforced warmth that LGBTQ+ fans have felt time and again. As this video comes to a close, we're left with one lingering thought. In an industry built on image and control, isn't it time we celebrate more stars who choose authenticity over silence? 10 stars, 10 different journeys, yet one powerful message. Silence is no longer enough. In a world where public figures are often told to stay neutral, these Korean celebrities chose something braver. They stood with love, with identity, with the right to simply be. Through their roles, their words, their fashion, and their actions, they've helped create space for LGBTQ+ fans who've spent too long on the sidelines. But even now, in 2025, we're still asking the same question. Why is same-sex love still seen as something shameful? Why does visibility still feel like an act of defiance? These stars showed that allyship doesn't always need a headline. Sometimes it's in a single sentence, a quiet gesture, or a role that changes how someone sees themselves. Now, it's your turn to keep the conversation alive. Which moment in this video hit you the hardest? Which star gave you hope? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe more stories like this deserve to be told, like, share, and subscribe. Because change starts with voices like yours.